everyone, welcome back to Installation 00, and today we continue with the Bestiarum, a dive into the respective species of the Halo universe, and we continue with the Sangheili. Strong, proud, and sophisticated, the Sangheili were rightly called the Elites, a founding member species of the Covenant with a heavy focus on martial superiority, combat prowess, and honour. The Sangheili are a tall, noble warrior civilization that once served as the primary military enforcers within the Covenant Empire, but have now begun to chart a new destiny among the stars. Arising on Sanghelios, the Sangheili have a rich, complex culture with one foot firmly rooted in their hidebound feudal warrior traditions, and another always pressing to improve their way of life through technology, a process catalyzed by a reverent fascination with foreigner relics. Within the Covenant, the Sangheili held nearly full control over the Empire's military. Since its demise, however, the Sangheili have been embroiled in a civil war, with various leaders and factions attempting to fill the vacuum of power that remains. Sangheili are bipedal saurians with large, muscular bodies that are covered entirely in fine, leathery scales. They have elongated, serpentine necks, ending in blunt-snouted heads that bear 4 mandibles, each of which are lined with rows of sharp teeth. The scale colour, mandible structure, and number of teeth vary drastically between distinct cultures found across Sanghelios. Sangheili bodies are built on a lean frame with strong, sinewy arms that end in zygodactyl hands, hands with long, dexterous clawed fingers, as well as powerful digitigrade legs. Female Sangheili give birth to their young by laying eggs, a process refined by the incubation and hatching of their young within nesting tanks. Their size, strength, and general stature immediately established their leadership of the Covenant in all aspects of war. Several hundred years prior to the Covenant, the Sangheili had already founded dozens of interstellar colonies, setting out from their nascent system in powerful warships. After encountering the Sangheili, a long and bloody war ultimately led to a truce and the formation of the Covenant. With this fledgling alliance, the Sangheili were dedicated to guarding the path, protecting the Covenant as it searched for Halo. Upon the discovery of humanity, it was the Sangheili who led the Covenant military in an effort to eradicate humanity. During this protracted war, however, betrayal at the hands of the hierarchs led to the Great Schism, a violent civil war that tore the Covenant apart. In the aftermath of this conflict, Sangheili civilization rapidly descended into violence, splintering into a number of factions. Sangheili culture is driven by honour, nobility, and power. For ages, it was largely unified under the banner of a shared belief in the divinity of the foreigners, a facet which allowed them to serve in the Covenant without religious interruption. United by a single language and uniformed social morals that have changed little over the centuries, the Sangheili have maintained profound stability as a species, though their warrior tendencies often devolve into tense, heated disputes that can only be decided through combat. This rugged simplicity belies their strong intellect and innate resourcefulness, which was heavily influenced by the enduring passage of ancient wisdom and traditions through sagas enshrined on the walls of their keeps. Divided into tightly knit families or clans called keeps, Sangheili society reflects feudal manorialism, with multiple allied clans being led by a single Kaidan who controls a fortified keep and the surrounding territory. On small colonies, a handful of keeps govern the entirety of its resources. On more developed worlds, such as Sanghelios, hundreds of keeps vie for power and influence through both politics and military force. Since the dismantling of the Covenant and the harrowing revelation about Halo, many of these keeps have coalesced into ambitious military sects and are gridlocked in a vicious struggle for power. Sangheili colonization of the stars began over 2,000 years before humanity left their own cradle world, and was fueled by a hunger for territory, clan competition, and tantalizing clues discovered in foreigner artifacts on Sanghelios and beyond. Before the formation of the Covenant, these new worlds were bound by blood and belief, not a centralized administration. But that was enough to avoid any serious fractures, and it further allowed for the creation of a vast network of enterprises that shared a goal of stellar exploration. The Covenant changed little beyond a focus on martial preparation and dissolution of self-sufficiency. The collapse of the Covenant promised a new era of Sangheili unity, but that was quickly undermined by resource shortfalls and a hardening of doctrine by groups that remained loyal to the Covenant in spirit. Many Sangheili colonies have been devastated by sectarian conflict. With the collapse of the tithe system, even if they had not been bombarded or glassed during the Great Schism and subsequent civil wars, these colonies are unable to support their populations. Following the created conflict and amid the steady rise of banished influence, these worlds are struggling to regroup and seek direction from Sanghelios on a path forward. Since its founding, the Sangheili led all client species as the sole authority of the Covenant's military domain, though always under the watchful eye of the Sangheili. Their presence manifested in a nearly countless array of functions and roles. Within the Covenant, the Sangheili were focused almost exclusively on military oversight and implementation. From childhood, Sangheili males were raised for military service, a reality that would largely dominate the bulk of their lives. The identity of their biological father was kept from Sangheili children so that they would not rest in the legacy of their forebearer. But, raised by the entire keep, each would fight to prove their own worth. Trained from an early age to engage in hand-to-hand combat and use all manner of weaponry, their kind represented the sharpest edge of the Covenant's military prowess. Advancement through the ranks hinged on individual and personal merit, generally measured in the number of kills one had secured. Sangheili, who reached the higher echelons of military service, may have thousands of kills against enemies in hand-to-hand combat. While this method was certainly proficient in getting the most seasoned warriors into leadership, it also created vacuums in command structures, leaving room for potential vulnerabilities within its overall hierarchy. The Sangheili held most of these martial values long before their alliance with the Sangheili, but the formation of the Covenant ultimately provided a direct avenue to maintain and hone these traditions to even greater degrees. Sangheili used extremely advanced and refined battle harnesses, with construction steeped in the rich traditions of their past and blessed by the Sangheili for sacred use in pursuit of the Great Journey. Most Sangheili armor employed powerful energy shielding systems and possessed a variety of dummy modules and terminator plugs that augmented and maximized the individual abilities of each warrior. Apart from clear distinctions made by authority or practical function, Sangheili armor differed cosmetically from fleet to fleet, existing as a reflection of the ministry they served or the designation given to them upon commission. There is an almost limitless number of varieties among the Covenant's warriors. Accompanying any fleet guided by a key religious figure, Major Domo or even Supreme Commander who sought to display his piety, or Sangheili wearing battle harnesses that invoked honor, devotion, and zeal, even if it came at a loss of comfort or effectiveness. Invasion fleets, however, emphasized practicality and power over cosmetic flourish or embellishment, utilizing the most advanced technologies to efficiently outfit those deployed. The armor worn by these blooded combatants signaled the end of a world, as Covenant occupation sieges descended to annihilate entire civilizations before they unleashed legions of warriors to seize the foreigner treasures hidden below. In the years following the fall of the Covenant, many Sangheili desired to reclaim their heritage they had lost to the Sangheili at the Empire's formation, rekindling old war factories and dusting off design templates long since abandoned. After Aatrox's legendary felling of Executioner Aitho Hasiki, the dreaded Sangheili Inquisitor appointed to invoke his banishment, no reversals were more staggering than the Sangheili, who rallied to the Jiralhane Warmaster's side once their protracted war suddenly ground to a halt. Although they had long maintained superiority over the Jiralhane within the Covenant, when the prophets were proven to be false, many Sangheili saw the pragmatic belief of joining the Banished as mercenaries and freelancers. Entire Sangheili keeps, once committed to the Great Journey with an undying zeal, now pledged their swords to a superior power and assimilated without hesitation into the growing legions that comprised Aatrox's forces. Eager to safeguard the honour of their people and resurrect a glory diminished by centuries of treachery and deceit, the Sangheili gave themselves body, mind and soul to the service of the Banished's ambitious goals, and they were rewarded handsomely in both rank and recompense. Loosely following the pattern of the Covenant military hierarchy, with its vast number of Sangheili miners, the lowest level of Banished Sangheili are called mercenaries. They are outfitted with a standard combat harness and armed with basic weaponry. Holding a battlefield position strikingly similar to Sangheili miners of old, mercenaries function both as independent operatives and as leaders of small, alloyed combat groups utilised in response to the needs of the battle. Banished mercenaries are easily the most widespread Sangheili role within the Banished forces presently occupying Zeta Halo. Despite their relatively modest standing, mercenaries are strong, highly capable warriors, mainly differentiated from those of greater rank by armour and authority, rather than by combat expertise. They can only find advancement through actions that yield practical and strategic benefit to the Banished's overall goals, or when a Sangheili commander above them is eliminated in the throes of combat. Modelled after the obedientaries of the Covenant's military, the Enforcer role among the Banished holds authority over mercenaries and their charges in addition to larger squads and detachment groups. As their name implies, Enforcers are designed to ensure the resolution of any orders delivered by their warlord or chieftain, regardless of the cost. Clad in crimson armour, their decisive and formidable presence is immediately felt on the battlefield, even if they are not afforded many of the practical benefits of higher placement. Nevertheless, their station gives them a greater opportunity to display their tactical acumen in the field rather than those who serve above them, since Enforcers actively lead other Banished warriors. Ironically, despite decades of oppressive service within the Covenant, other species often gravitate to serving Sangheili Enforcers over and above their Jiralhane counterparts. It is unknown whether this is a result of long generations of indoctrination or simply nuanced differences in combat methodology between species. The elite of Banished's Sangheili warriors are the Ultras. Echoing the elusive and legendary Evocati order before it, the Ultra represents the most talented and accomplished of their species, forging stories for the saga walls of their keeps with every faithful exploit. As with the Covenant, many Ultras utilise a combat harness with substantially increased resilience and the ability to cloak through active camouflage. Some, closely resembling the Sangheili's ivory-armoured Arpactico warriors of old. Deadly and formidable, these fierce hunters are trained to track down and kill without hesitation or remorse, making them a suitable fit for the Banished's emphasis on results. The reputation of the Ultras goes before them, and they are seldom attached to a single combat unit for long, but are deployed impromptu by their warlords like active, living weapons sent to accomplish an objective with swift, unforgiving resolve. Since the Ultra is without equal among Sangheili in mastery of skill, they rarely ever hold any aspirations beyond dying for the glory of their keep. For the Sangheili, the most significant departure from the traditional rates of the Covenant military is the Warlord, a rank of great prestige and broader jurisdiction within the Banished military. As with the Jiralhane, the Sangheili Warlord is functionally the equivalent of a field commander or general in battle, but in actuality its embodiment is more closely related to the role of Kaidan, the Lord and Major Domo of a Sangheili keep. Although this role need not be filled with an actual Kaidan, its function and demands greatly benefit from one with such experience. With Enforcers and mercenaries in their service leading hundreds of diverse combat elements into battle, the Warlord essentially operates as the leader of a clan, governing his forces in a unified, holistic manner. Not only does this meld a powerful war element under a single Sangheili leader, but in the Banished's ruthlessly competitive doctrine, it catalyzes their performance over and against others. The task of the Warlord is to ensure that those under their command outpace all others. The Banished's heavy emphasis on direct application of force does not preclude their use of stealth and covert operatives to achieve results with minimal exposure. Although they lack a formal military division, the Sangheili within the Banished have created their own special operations force, many of these hailing from this former role within the Covenant. These unique Sangheili are extensively trained stealth warriors equipped with the Banished's most state-of-the-art technology, and armed with weapons and armour that befit their station. This allows them to suddenly infiltrate the most fortified enemy strongholds without even the slightest detection. In addition to their active camouflage and their skill with a sword, Spec Ops Sangheili have mastered the art of most traditional Sangheili assassination techniques and have been known to be privately employed by the boldest Banished commanders to quietly eliminate rivals and quell uprisings. This facet has made them an excellent fit for the Banished's violently ruthless war culture. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, consider hitting the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on future content, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. It really does help the channel out significantly. Feel free to pop a comment below on anything you'd like me to cover next, and before signing off I just want to give a shout to my Patreon supporters, Spartan10148, my singular contender class ancilla, Falcon, Jordan and Poseidon, the metarchs of my facility, Sylphia, Ashley, Esoteric, Spartan 1029 and Chris Allen, my dutiful monitors, Darian, Legion, Labrat, Spartan 137, Chris, Element 0, J3, Mr. Keys, Gunslinger Cult, Evermore's Personal Devil, Scion Esports and Saber, my diligent sub-monitors, my dominating fleet of Strato Sentinels, and my loyal enforcers, and all other patrons who continue to support the channel. I can't thank you guys enough. Big props to my Tier 0 YouTube members, Spartan 137, Talia, Fenrir, Bornstella and Jimbo, and all other YouTube members keeping the installation running on that glorious vacuum energy. And if you really love what I'm doing here, consider supporting the channel via the links in the description. Much love, take it easy, and find peace in the domain.